What's up, everybody? Al the Pal 78. Now we're gonna go into creating a user and or a chef because our users are chefs. And I'm gonna try to get this light closer to me so I can look more handsome for everybody. So I think I dropped it and I messed it up. Anyways, don't tell my son. So here we go. Okay, what do we need to make everything work? So the first thing is we need to make this login registration and this this login and this register registration stuff to also create a post. How do you create posts? What do we usually use for posts? And we usually use forms. So I could make a form interface, but I'm not gonna do that because those are things I'm not great with yet. I think we could do it and it makes sense, but we're not gonna do it because I think this makes more sense to me this way. So it makes it easier for me to teach you. Or teach myself again. So here we go. We're gonna close this one out. We don't need none of this at this time. We will go to login and register. Okay, with register being in there, we're gonna have to do a form. But what we have to do first is put at model. Okay, and the lowercase model first and uppercase model when you're inside the rest of this stuff right here, if you even use it. So, what model we using here? Chef, right? We come down here, the chef is working. Okay. Okay, sorry, I was sneezing and coughing, and I had to get some water so I won't be coughing this whole video. So what we want to do in this chef model is we want to make a form. I like to put my forms in divs, and let's see, okay, and then put a form like that, and we're gonna leave the action, the method of post, right? And we have to make an action. So ASP dash controller is gonna be chef. I mean, we don't really have to put that at this time because we're in the chef context controller already. But I like to make things easier to me, and then we're gonna put ASP dot action, and the action is gonna be create chef, right? And that's gonna be a post action. So instead of this being like crazy like that long, we're gonna put that down here. We're gonna put little divs in all of this. So all these divs are gonna have similar stuff right here. We got the label, the end of the label. We want to input. Um, we're gonna get rid of all this stuff right here. And this is the beauty of ASP.NET that I love so much, and span. So these three things have similar stuff in them. And the first thing we're gonna do. All right. So the beauty about this right here is that in the label, if you put ASP-4 and you type in the F for first name and press tab, it's gonna do that for you. And this is where the beauty of it is for this thing. Same thing, first name. Now look at this. It knows for sure it's gonna use the span for the validations, and obviously it's first name. You see how easy that life makes it for us? That's all we really need right here. So I'm gonna save this real quick, and I'm gonna play this out for you real quick, just under one, and we're gonna see it later when we're actually creating it all. But let's see. Hopefully it works now. So you see how it has first name and stuff like that, and we didn't write the first name in, but we put 4, so it has this ended. So if we could press enter, which we really can't, because it's like I don't know what's going on. Plus it's not a create chef in the controller. It's gonna be like, yo, I don't know. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this for everything, and then we're also gonna have a button. So let's go crazy with it. Okay, I'm lying. Don't go crazy. So this is another thing. You press Control DD and just type in last name. The beauty about it, if it doesn't have a last name in there, it's not gonna make the curly thing. Now this is we was hoping that it'll make a curly say we were already doing it for a first name, but it doesn't do that. But watch this. If we put this is with Jacob in here, right? It has no idea what that is. It should come out with a curly. You see the curly right there? It's like, well, I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah, I know. So the next one is you press Control D twice and then type in email after you double click to highlight it. So I'm double clicking and I press DD and I press password. Excuse me. And now right here, I'm going to put confirm password. And I'm going to double click that, Control C, then Double click these two, then press Control D, and then V, so I don't have to spell it out. That's actually the last one we actually have to do. So we don't need button in here. We could actually put a button in a div, but we could just put a button right here, right? If you check that, it has a button. And in between the button, we definitely want to put login. We know login? No, we know register chef. We call this register chef. That, if you know how to spell it. And don't do that. Everything, I press insert on accident, so everything should be dandy. So we closed it. That looks good. Register chef. And what this is gonna, what kind of button is this? Is a type of submit, not button, submit. And then we close that out. Type submit. And honestly, we shouldn't need anything more than that. But we could put some class. The great news about this is we have button outline. I like to put outline and then success. So I forgot what secondary is. Oh, it's a gray. So we could look at this again, but you know what it's for, and the button is to register it. Now, okay, let's do the same thing for the login one, because the login one is very similar to it, but it's gonna be a little bit different. So we're gonna take this right here, these two divs, right here for the login. Control C. We go into the index. No, we said login. And we are gonna go and we're gonna keep this. You know, we could keep that there. And I'm actually gonna do the same thing with the other one. We're gonna put div, and then we're gonna put Control V here. And these divs is it should be like for what? Like, see the yellow line? Like, what the hell is this? And we're gonna put login email. But it's still like, what the hell is this? It should still be like that. You know why? Because we forgot to put the model that we're using. And the model that we're using is the login model. You see that? And now that went away, but this still has it because it's a partial, so it could almost read it like, oh, look, they finally went back to that. Control DD and then press V. Oh, Control Z. Double click here again, Control C, Control DD, and now everything's the same except for that. Alright, so everything should go away. And the same thing here, I don't like to put login password, that's long to spell. And so we double click to highlight it, Control C, double click, Control D, Control V, and that's that. What are we missing? A button. Oh, you know what else we're missing? A form. So let's do this form, and let's delete this, and then let's put the form thing underneath here, /form. And the action is gonna be we're going up to ASP controller, and we're gonna put chef, and then we're gonna put ASP action is oh well, we gotta put the equal sign is we're gonna put this called logged in because it's a past tense now, right? That sounds good. Let's go get our button before Alt Shift and F for the formatting, and that looks good. Let's do the button again, and let's just do some stuff for the button again. And I like everything I did for the register button except for the register chef. So let's just copy this. Control C, and let's close that out. We don't need this for this time. Let's just Control V over here, Alt Shift F, and we're gonna put login instead of register chef. And then we're gonna press S. Now this is cool, but how does the controller know that we need to make all this stuff? Okay, let's get some actions. Let's reopen the register one. And all I want from it is the form action create chef C. In my chef controller, I like to put my stuff together. It's a partial for registering the new chefs. Okay, that sounds good, right? And then we have the login above it. I usually like to put register above login, but we here. First things first, we're gonna put HTTP post. And we don't need, you could actually put a route here as well. Like if you could put like logged in, but I'd rather do this because we're using We're using what we gotta use for it. You know what I'm saying? We gotta use something. We're gonna use it. So with this post, we're gonna do the public high action results and Control V so we don't mess it up. And inside here, guess what we're gonna have to use? Yes, a chef. And then no, not the context, a chef. And then we're gonna call it little chef. Tab, and then the curly braces. Enter. Now this is gonna look. This is gonna be like this, because we have to put in models. So this is gonna look like this until we do a return. Our first return is that we wanted to go back to the index outside of our if statements. So return, redirect for action, to action, and this is how you do it. You do the action, right, and then you do the controller like this. Like in here, we don't have to do the action. I mean the controller, but because I don't want things to mess up. I wanted to completely know that is that. But I'm not gonna use a chef control. I don't need it in here. We're gonna need it somewhere else. Isn't that amazing? Okay. So one thing I want to do is I kind of want to make a dashboard. And do I want the dashboard in the home? No, we got 4 things in there already. We kind of like don't need this one. I'm not deleting it right now. But we got like 4 things in there. Do we want it in the under chef stuff? Probably not. Yeah, we could put in the chef stuff. It won't make no difference. So let's add our dashboard. View, razor view, add. We're gonna call this dashboard right here. Dashboard. And this is another thing I don't like about putting my letters too big. Sometimes you can't really see the letters in the bottom, and some letters have, bottom parts. So we want it to be a dashboard. We don't want it to be a partial. We're gonna be without models. We don't need that at this time. So let's just add that. And like I said, we're putting it in the chef context to make it easier. We could put it in a home context, but we would have to put the dashboard home. So we know there's only one thing dashboard. So let's just save it. So when we're done coding this part, it would be like, oh, okay, now I know. When we put dashboard, and it's gonna be after this some of these if statements. So we're gonna call model state, right? What the model is if everything inside the form of register is actually valid. So we're gonna put that is valid, right? So if that stuff is valid, then let's do what we gotta do when we gotta do it. Another thing we're gonna do is, since we're bringing the chef over from the form, is we're gonna try to figure out if the context, or we have DB context, right? Dot chefs dot first, dot any, actually we want any here, and then in here we're gonna put emails. Nope, not emails, and then a space, and we do the lambda expression, and we're going emails dot email, right? Equals chef dot email. So we're trying to say, yo, if anything in the that, because we're creating the guy now, and we can't have 2 emails the same. No, we cannot. So we're saying if any 2 emails is exactly the same, yo, Shun, yo. Well, we got to do a no, we got to create an error. So we go to model state dot add model ever. It usually knows what the heck you want to do. And we want to put email in here. What this email is saying. Let's just put this right here. What this email is saying. And you need a comma. And you need this. Oh, no, that's not a comma. What the heck just happened? Alright, we're going to put that and that. Alright, so what we're saying in here. Because now you see that the stuff is. Oh, no. We don't need a dot there. We need a comma here. Comma. And what this is saying is, yo, what do you want it to say? Or already in yo, you can put your emails in there. Let's say like my mom, my no, like your email. Let's say you email like my grandma. The email not your email, email already in system. We don't know what system it is, and so what we want to do is exactly what we did here. And what this does right here is this returns the validations with it. That easy, all right? It's that easy, Holmes. All right. So now that the model state and everything inside the model state is validated and proper, we want to add this stuff into the database because we know there's no other email like it. And if anything, if the model state's not correct, it will be redirected. It will this if it's not correct, so it'll skip all this and this to return. So what do we need to do here? Well, this is where we start putting hash passwords. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna variable. Is it variable? No, it's password hasher, and it doesn't know what that is. So if you don't do that one right, then it's not gonna work. But this is considered an identity. This is like a security feature in it. So we put that password hasher thing up in here in the identity. So we're gonna put password hasher, and what we have to put at the end of this is a chef model, and we're gonna call it hasher. I know sometimes I forget, and it's gonna say all right, but at the end of that we have to put that, and that creates our hasher. You hear that old school style track in the background. Use the hasher for this. Now we should be putting our lowercase chef that password. Oh, hold on. That password is gonna get hasher dot hash password, and let's put that semicolon at the end, not with that, and it should be chef, comma chef dot password. So it's saying, yo, take the chef. This is where we want it to go to. The chef, what is it called again? Instance. I look better that way. So the chef instance, and take the chef instance password and hash it. And over here we're saying, yo, I want my chef's password to be hashed. So it's hashing the chef password on this side, and it's just saying, get me that. Okay. That's it. Now we got to put in the database. How do you do that? Time to put time to create the chef. Time to create the chef. The chef, man. All right. So this is how you add the chef into the database. I don't know why I went down there. So this is the hardest part. You go db context dot chefs dot add, and then you go semicolon here. But before we do that, chef. Right. That's amazing. Remember I said we're going to use session soon, and I put it in that other stuff? Check this out. We're not done with this. So db context, right? That's save changes. And that's how you... Remember how you do, like... It's kind of saying, like, yo, add this chef, like we migrated, now actually put it in save it into the database, put it in there. Add it to the table, but save it now to the database. See? Kind of like two things at once. It's kind of like typing it and then pressing Control S to actually save it. That's what that does. So now we're gonna create a session for so we could not be logged out. That's a lot of words. So let's just type it like that. Control save that, enter. How do we create a session? HTTP context dot session, right? Dot. This is something else we gotta get. Is it int 32 like that? This is something else. This is part of part of the HTTP from the .NET. It's kind of special. It's pretty cool. So this is how you actually do it. You're gonna put chef ID lowercase here, and then you're gonna go get the chef ID, and then we're gonna tab and close that out. And this might need a comma. Let me see. Yeah, it's a comma. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't want to get it. We want to set it. This is getting it is later on. So let's capitalize that as. So we want to set the ID. So that's what we want to do. We're setting this ID to be the lowercase capital Chef ID. See, the lowercase inside the session. So that's what that does. That's all you have to do there. And the last thing is we have to redirect to action. Oh, this is actually return view. My bag on this. These are return views. Oh, this is view. And this is a return redirect to action. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put a comment over here after the enter, and we're gonna put get to where we need to get to, son. And that's okay. Return. This is redirect to action. Redirect to action, and we're gonna put that dashboard here because this is the action. This is the actual action. And it's funny. Everywhere else, it's controller, and then action. But this one is action controller. If you had it in any one of these other folders, like if you had it in the home controller folder or stuff like that, that's what you would have to do. Bam. So that's that, and that's just for creating one. Before we get crazy with it, let's do the login one. Okay. The login one is basically the same. Not that. Not that. So we're gonna make sure it's a post. And what do we call our login? Logged in. Control C. So that's. So action is actually this right here. Action login. So that's what that is. That's why the name of this is the action, because it's an action. Action results. Our result is Control V. This is the logged in one. And inside the parentheses we need a login. Let's call him logger, because he logged in. Nope, logger. Give me no stuff. Nope. Okay, once again, let's make this happen. We're gonna return the view of index. You know why? Because we're gonna do some if statements. So let's return index. And we're gonna do some if statements. Now this has something similar like the post for the registration or the creation of it. So we got the same model state, you know what I'm saying? And then you want to know if it is valid. So if you bring this logged in stuff, right, and it's not valid, guess what? The logger is like, oh, okay, so what do you want from me? Okay. So what's one thing we want to do? We want to see if the first email is, right? So let's put a variable and let's just get the first identity of this guy, right? So variable logger. Let's put logs like that. No. Oh, user in database. Let's put a user in database like that. And then D and lowercase b, because we're gonna put a lowercase u here because we're gonna make a function for that later. It makes our life easier. So what is this saying? User in database. And what we want here is database context dot this is where it's different. Chefs dot first or default, right? And we're gonna put user. We could use anything, ID, whatever. We're gonna put ID, and we're gonna put this lambda stuff in here, and we're gonna ID dot chef ID. You know what I'm saying? Is equal. Now this is where it changes. Logger dot logger email. So we're gonna have to use email because we don't have ID, right? So just put email here. So this makes sense to it now. It's like, yo, if this email, if there's any email in here that has that, yo, return it to this variable email, right? And then we're gonna put a semicolon because this is C#, baby. You know what I'm saying? and all my family's texting. So here we go. So now we're gonna put another if statement. Yo, if user in database equals null, meaning there's nothing in there, well, guess what we gotta do? Yes, you got it. That yes, and we're gonna put log out email, right? And then tab, and then put question mark. I mean that, and then tab and credit, and do that, and then we're gonna put um, wrong email or password, or invalid. We can put invalid. It sounds like a. There you go. That's really that simple, isn't it? Okay. Now we're gonna have two. Okay, we're gonna have two variables down here. The second one is gonna call result. The result. But let me do the first one. This is to identify the logger's, what they call it, the loggers, to see if he has a password that matches. All right. So let me see. Variable hasher gets password hasher, right? It's new password hasher, login, and we're gonna go to the end of that, right? And we're gonna put that, and the result is gonna be this right here. Okay, if let's see if I got this right. If result it's got to equal to, so it should be DB context here. Dot chefs dot password. Dot chefs dot first to default, right? And we're gonna put user. So let's put user like that equals. This should be. We should put a US here. User and user again right here. So that could make sense. So user, user email. User dot password. Oh no, I'm doing something wrong here. Result is user password, and this should be equal to logger dot login nope, password. Password. Okay. I'm doing this backwards, I believe. It should be hasher dot hash verify hash passwords, right? So if it passes this, see, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking wrong. So this is to verify. This is why we talk to the duck. Yo, man, what am I doing wrong? You gotta do this. Oh yeah. So to verify if the email is in database, right? So we're trying to verify if this is in database. So if this is not null, it's gonna skip this if statement. And the one thing we're missing here is the return statement, return view, and this should be dashboard board. And I'm glad I saw that. So we want to make sure it goes back. Oh no, this is index. Dashboard is redirect to action. So we want to return this right here. So if it passes this, that means the user in database's password is actually the user. There's a user in the database, so we're gonna check out his password in here. So we come over here. We say, "Yo, we're gonna verify this hash word, this password, this guy." So we're gonna put logger, comma, and it kind of like shows you what you gotta do. You got the logger user, right, and the hash password, and the string provide password, right. So the hash password would be verify hash password would be the user in databases password, right, because it's already hash that password. And then now you're doing now we're saying logger password, login password. So we gotta put a semicolon at the end of that. So let's break this down again. So, because I did this wrong, I was thinking about it wrong because I knew what I wanted to do, but I was doing the if statement before I actually did what I needed to do to get to the if statement. So this is to verify the email in the database. If there's no email in the database, we're gonna create a error and say, yo, that's an invalid email or password. Right here, we say we need a new password hasher to log in. And what we're saying here is that if the result has to equal 1 or 0, 0 meaning, yo, that password was wrong, it does not match, 1 meaning it matched. And that's how you use this. So it says hash of that verified hash password. And whose password do we want to verify? Well, we want to verify this logger. So what are we going to compare it to? Well, we got to see if this hash password, once it's hashed, this one it becomes back to unhashed, if this one's going to match this one. So this is what we want to compare it to. And this is the one we want to find in the database. We'll see if this person's database, if this was hashed, would this user's hash, this logger's password be the same as this password? If it is, well, it returns a 1. But how do we figure out if it is? We got to do if statement. If results equals 0, that means it didn't return a 1, right? Well, we're just gonna copy this right here. Why keep coding everything when it's right there? And then we're gonna put this logger password here. And then invalid email password is beautiful. And last but not least, create a session. Why? Context.session. And it's still set integer 32. Why is it still set? Well, you know what? Let's make our life easier. Let's go down to this one and let's make sure it's exactly the same thing so we don't ruin the spelling here. Control C. Come back up here and then just highlight this on as Control V. The reason it's still setting the integer 32 for the ID, and this is logger, of course. No, not logger. No, I'm using database because the logger doesn't have an ID. So using database, we're gonna set this ID to session. And the reason we're setting this is for later use. And what happens is saying, hey, yo, don't log me out because my session is going. You know what I'm saying? Now I mean? Now we're gonna do this return, redirect to action. We gotta type return probably, redirect to action, and this is gonna be dashboard. And then that's that. That's creating and logging in. Wow, 32 minutes just because I was explaining too much, and we gotta figure things out sometimes. It's that simple. Don't get mad at me, get mad at you. Alright. So with that done, let's check out and see if it worked. Because this always returns issues. I've done this before, like a few 20 times easily in the last month. Just try to do this video properly. So now the good thing is it's gonna look ugly, but it's in different spots, right? Log in. That looks ugly, and we could make that look better later. So that's that. Well, we really can't log in anything because there's really nothing in the user base. So let's create a user. First name Al, the pal. Last name yo. Oh, last name fun guy. Okay, email Al the pal 78 at Gmail. But this is the part I don't like, right? It still needs those two things. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Watch this. 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now this should work too. You see that? No, we're not gonna save it because confirm password and password did not match. That's what that simple validation did for us. We don't have to write it. Other stacks, you actually have to write that out, and it gets annoying. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is my password to my credit cards and stuff. Let's create this, register this chef, and let's see. Should direct this. Oh man, this is the problem. It works. There's nothing wrong with this. This works. The problem is, like it says, it ain't there. So underneath, well, above all that, let's go underneath the Um, login posture. Okay, this is the posture view. Okay, login, and I'll just put it above it. All right. It's a get. Yeah, I was not trying to make this too long, and action results, and we'll find out when we log in, because that just it couldn't find it, and we want dashboard here, and then we do this and this, and send return view, and everything is beautiful. It's the dashboard. So let's run this again and let's log in. I didn't save it, but it was 138. And let's see what happens when we come here. And we come here. Now the path 78 at Gmail. And we don't need .com because it's messed up. But we will fix that. So it should return. It should say it didn't work or something. There we go. Let's save that for now. So we in the dashboard, and that works great. So the next video will be styling and bringing things up to the front of the dashboard, because it's 36 minutes. That's a long time, man. Long time. We're gonna, try to style it, and then we're gonna create recipes so that I can show you the stuff. But the last thing I want to show you, I'm gonna stop there, real quick, is let's go back into this bad boy right here. And this will be simple and real quick because we have it working. We created something, and let's connect, and let's go to the databases, Mel's Kitchen. Let's go to the tables, and let's go to the chefs and do that. It doesn't matter if 1,000, 2, 5. There's only one person in there. So with that, look at this. First chef ID, Al the Power, Fun Guys, my last name, email, and that's a bad email. So we're gonna fix that next video tomorrow. And the password is hashed. So this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter if it's the exact same password for two different people. It doesn't matter if it's the same exact password. This would change. Am I logged out yet? Let's log back in. Let's go to hey Mr. MRE, so Mr. Ready to Eat at MRE at hey, and the password 78 1 2 3 1 6 7 8. Now let's register the chef. Now it can take me to the dashboard. You see what I'm saying? And when we come here, we just have to refresh this. Let's just press execute again. You see it again. You could try to match it because they got some letters that are the same, but look at all this difference inside here. All this is different, and the first up to here is the same. Nope. All up to here is about the same to this E. And it changes. Everything changes. It's the exact same password. So that's what security reasons and that we use identity and stuff like that. So that's that. Almost 40 minutes. Gotta go. See you tomorrow.